Our new facility at Banner University Medical Center was designed with you in mind. With private patient rooms, modern design, and advanced technology, we're working to make Tucson's future brighter and your visits easier.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Bruce Montalvo Show, broadcasting live on Spreaker.com. It is September 9th, 2017. And is it the end of the world? I don't know. Maybe my good friend Jordan Maxwell could let me know. Jordan, are you there?
Yes, I am. Actually, I am here.
Good. I'm glad. Jordan, so many wacky things are going on. I mean, tornadoes, earthquakes, tsunamis, strange blue lights appearing in Mexico, and then seconds later, an 8.2 that just shakes Mexico to its core. Are the sons of God touching down on planet Earth?
Well, I think that most of the really important stuff that's going on, including Fukushima and the earthquakes and all that, it's just my opinion. But it wouldn't surprise me if this all man-made.
Yes.
And so it's to frighten the people. Because Nikola Tesla, way back a long time ago, made New York vibrate with an earthquake, and he had to shut it down. His device, he had to shut it down because it would have wrecked the whole city of New York had he continued with it. But he was just showing that he could cause an earthquake anywhere, anytime he chose. And so he gave the demonstration, and New York had a tremendous earthquake. So he had to shut it down quickly, or he would have really caused serious trouble. So I know that as far back as Nikola Tesla's day, that was back in the 20s and 30s,
right,
and 40s. We already had the humans, I should say, already had the knowledge and the expertise and the ability to cause great earthquakes. And we know that at least since 1950s, we've been able to control the weather manipulation or weather control has been perfected. We know how to cause hurricanes and cause storms to happen. We can stop storms from happening. There's all kinds of technology that we know that we have. The Russians have, and we have, and God knows by now probably a lot of other countries have the ability to cause havoc and weather. And so I talked about this back in the 70s, about how weather is being manipulated, controlled. And the system that's used is called ELF, Extreme Low Frequency. ELF is a term that's given to the technology on how to cause hurricanes, tornadoes, twisters, all those kind of things we now know how to do. We've been doing it and playing with it for a long time. So that's why I totally am convinced that all these things that are happening in New Orleans and the Texas tornadoes and storms and hurricanes and all of this stuff, in my opinion, is man-made. And so we're using it. Certain people are using this technology to prepare the people to do what the powers that be want us to do. They want us to be frightened and afraid and scared, so that we will turn to government, and the government will protect you in this terrible storm. They will protect you. And the way they will do that is they'll put you into some sort of a prison-like establishment, and it's an old Kmart store or something, and
Yeah,
and you'll be
FEMA
given
camp.
bread and water like a prisoner, and and your country is being destroyed. You're being destroyed. Your religions are destroyed. Your commerce, your country, your earth, all of it's being destroyed in front of you by a handful of people who know how to do this kind of destructive work technologically. And so I'm sure most of this is all handmade, and designed to do what it's doing, scare the peawads out of everybody. So that's what I think is happening.
You're absolutely,
I think it's all being orchestrated.
Absolutely right, Jordan. It's the hidden hand at play here. I mean, weather weapons, let's just face it, they're not the stuff of comic book anymore.
No, I'm afraid not. Well, it's legitimate stuff now, and it's anything that was in comic books years ago, we've already done. And so they had I can't remember his name right now, but the head of the Lockheed Skunk Works, that major military-industrial power, the Lockheed Skunk Works, which was developing all the high-tech stuff that's going on in our world today that we don't know anything about. Well, when that guy who was the head of Lockheed Skunk Works retired at a big party that was thrown for him, he said to the audience, "We have taken E.T. home."
Wow.
and then he went on to say, he added to that, "We have been traveling through the stars for many years that you didn't know anything about. We have the ability and the technology to travel among the stars. And we've been doing that for a long time. We just didn't tell you."
And so what's to stop them from controlling the weather?
Think about the extraterrestrial, travel throughout the universe and how incredible that all sounds. Well, the head of the Lockheed Skunk Works said, "We've been doing that for years. We just didn't tell you."
Right. So exactly, what's to stop them, Jordan, from controlling the weather?
Nothing.
If they could find a way through the firmament, through the earth, I mean, who knows what they can do, right?
Well, that's exactly right. We know that governments have. We know that China has, and Russia has, and we have. Ever since the 20s and 30s, 1920s, 1930s, 1940s. We've had the ability, the knowledge, and technology on how to control the weather, where to cause earthquakes, how we can actually cause droughts to go on for 7, 8, 9 years. Droughts, very, very simple, really, if you understand how the technology works. And again, if you want to do some research on it, just go on the web to YouTube and type in ELF, Extreme Low Frequency. And it will give you some of the background on how this technology that was developed back in the 1930s and 40s and 50s.
Oh, yeah. Well, with
and
Tesla,
how it's used today.
Like Tesla, that was the stuff he was coming up with. He was coming up with the Tesla technology, these weapons of mass destruction, literally. I mean, you have, by no coincidence, right there on the Bermuda Triangle, this microwave sonar weapon, the SBX-1. I was saying it's just a radar, but what a coincidence. It's just, situated right there, and it seems to be steering these 3 hurricanes, Jordan, that, believe it or not, I mean, I know you know Hollywood. You remember the Day After Tomorrow? Well,
yep.
they had 3 hurricanes in that movie too, and
yep.
They think we're stupid and we don't remember things. But if I go back to 2000, if we go back to 2010, September 16th, again the same time period we're in right now, only years later, you had Hurricane Carl, Igor, and Julia. Now you have these 3 hurricanes that all start with the same letter, and they're all in the same place.
Yep, yep. And, Hollywood's been telling us for years what they're doing and what they're going to do. And Dick Gregory said it best. He said, Hollywood does three things. They tell you what your masters have done already, what they're doing now, and what they're getting ready to do.
Wow.
And it's called Hollywood and motion pictures. But if you know how to read the symbols and you know what the inside game is, then you know they're just telling you what they're going to do.
Exactly.
It really is an extremely interesting story when you see how smart these people really are.
It's sinister. It's sinister. I mean, it's so clear to me now. I mean, who is the biggest movie star since 1954? A giant lizard that destroys humanity. It's right there, right in front of us. Okay, Godzilla is basically like a metaphor for EMP, and we forgot another hurricane, Hurricane Kim Jong-un out there. So I mean, It's just, I mean, literally, they want us so scared that we pee in our pants, pee in the bed, and just like too scared to go anywhere, right, Jordan?
Yep, that's about it.
It's like a giant lizard ravaging us. No different.
Look at on the edge of Alaska, going toward Russia, there are some islands off the coast of Alaska, and you go out to the very last island off the coast of Alaska. I think they're called the Aleutian Islands, but there's a series of islands. You go out to the very last island, and that's the closest America comes to Russia. And then on the Russian side, there are some islands off the coast of Russia that go out into the ocean toward the east, toward America. And so on the Russian side, at the last island that's closest to America, there is I heard about this back in early 1970. So I don't know how many years ago that was, 40, 50 years ago. But that there is a electronic operation going out there. It looks like a radio station, but it's not radio. It's a very large operation going on that island. And from what I remember, this is a long time ago, but from what I remember, there was a nuclear power plant on that island just to run that radio station. Just to run that station, it needed its own nuclear power plant. And so it tells you that whatever that station is, it's using a hell of a lot of electricity. And so they have to have their own nuclear power plant right next door to run it. Well, at that station, on the Russian side, are these big discs or cups like you see today in America with their dishes, the big uploading dishes, and it's connected to computers. And so what they do is they have these big dishes, like Goldstone, Arizona has these large, huge, humongous dishes, and they put into the computer where Russia wants to cause a hurricane or an earthquake or some kind of a tragic event on their enemies, or to do something like that. And so they configure where they want to do the damage first. Then they put it into the computer, and then the computer tells this one dish to aim in a certain place, and then the computer tells the second dish to aim at a different, like a 90 degree turn. And so one dish is heading one way and another dish is heading the other.
Wow.
And the idea is that they pump in an incredible amount of electricity, incredible amounts into these two dishes, and they send out electrical frequency in two separate directions. And then on the other side of the Earth, according to the computer calculations, On the other side of the earth, these two powerful electrical signals crisscross each other on the earth somewhere. And that's where the trick is, to decide where you want this to happen. You have to aim the dishes in a certain way and let the computer decide. And then you send this electrical signal to both of these dishes, and they crisscross each other on the other side of the earth in a particular place. And depending on how much energy you put into them and the kind of frequency you're putting into it, it will cause an earthquake, or it will cause a volcano to erupt, or it will, if you hit it in the ocean, then it will cause a hurricane to develop. And depending on how much power you pump into it, that's how powerful the hurricane is going to be.
That's right.
And so a few weeks ago, Putin, the premier of Russia, Putin, was being interviewed, and they asked him what did he think about about America's challenges to the Russian government. And Putin was very casual. He says, we have the wherewithal to take care of America if we want. We're not afraid of America. We can take care of that situation real soon, real quick.
Oh, absolutely. Jordan, the Russians were the ones that were in charge of HARP way before the U.S. got a hold of it. I mean,
that's right.
The U.S. got a hold of it around 1991. That's when it ended in Russia.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Pumping enormous amounts of power into the ionosphere, into the stratosphere, and into our atmosphere around the Earth, and causing great electrical storms or volcanoes or earthquakes in the ocean, for tsunamis. There's no doubt in my mind, no doubt whatsoever in my mind that the Fukushima was a man-made event.
Yes.
Fukushima was it was overwhelming and obvious. This was a man-made event, purposely done.
And has it triggered this hurricane, which they're also calling a nuclear hurricane? I mean, what was it created out of that energy from Fukushima, that dark energy? I mean, they're playing God. They're playing, God on the plane, Jordan.
Yeah, but in doing so, they are heading the human race into a destiny that will not be able to, will not be able to get away from. We will not be able to work our way out of it. The guys who are running this planet are purposely driving the whole human family on the earth into oblivion. They're just destroying civilization everywhere, destroying governments. And so what it amounts to is that power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
And these are dark sorcerers, literally controlling the elements of the earth, like it's alchemy. I mean, I've heard you say it. These are dark magicians, dark occultists at work, and they're literally manifesting demons onto humanity using these Leviathan-like in power weapons that can influence the weather.
Yep. As a matter of fact, the one of the scientists that worked for CERN in Europe, that monstrosity that they have built in Europe,
it's a Stargate,
which is a Stargate kind of thing, and but he is probably one of the most interesting of all the people I've heard. I've heard all the scientists talking about it,
right.
All different kinds of researchers and people who are knowledgeable about this kind of science, and they're all very interesting. But this one guy really caught my attention because he was explaining all of the spiritual implications of what's going on here with CERN and with the world at large today, where we are, where we're going. And basically, when you hear this government talking about weapons of mass destruction. What you don't know is that we're not talking about atomic bombs. That's not hydrogen and atomic bombs are not mass destruction. They're not weapons of mass destruction. They are big, and they are very destructive, but it's not mass destruction. Mass destruction implies the whole damn Earth. Well, I don't care how big the atomic bomb is. It's not something that's going to cause mass destruction. And so, maybe a meteor or a comet the size of Texas, coming in and hitting the Earth.
Or a hurricane the size of Ohio. Hitting Florida.
That sweeps across the country, it sweeps across the world.
Jordan, that's got to hit home with you a little bit. I mean, you grew up in Florida. You're from Florida.
That's exactly right, boy. I went through 7, in my lifetime, I went through 7 major hurricanes.
Wow.
And when I was in my high school years, I hung around with a bunch of boys. We all, like any other kid, I had all my friends that we hung out together. And this group that I hung out with was really off the wall. And that's why I fit in so well with them. But one of our guys had a car. His father bought him a car, a big one. It was a big Pontiac. And so when the hurricanes were coming in, we would know about it. And I lived in Pensacola, right off the Gulf of Mexico. And so right off of the mainland, Pensacola and Florida, there's some huge islands. And there's a big bridge going out to the first island. And that's called Gulf Breeze. And then the next island out is called the Casino, which is that opens out into the Gulf of Mexico. So in order for us in Pensacola to get to the Gulf of Mexico, you have to go through 2 bridges. You have to go over 2 bridges, go to the one main island, and then go on to keep going, and then you go to the second island, and now you're facing the Gulf of Mexico.
Right.
And so when the storms were coming in, we'd know about them a week or 2 before. And so when it started to getting really bad, finally the winds were starting to kick up and the waves are coming in now. The U.S. Navy, because it's the second largest naval air station in the world, in my hometown. And so the Navy would go over to the 2 islands with Navy troop carriers and jeeps and trucks, and help the people get off the island. They would bring them back and put them on the naval base, or take them to a safe place to wait out the storm.
Right.
And so there will always be huge lines of cars on both bridges, getting away from coming onto the mainland to get away from the storm that's coming. Well, back then the world was different than it is today. Excuse me. Back then, there was more freedom. You had the rights and freedoms that you don't have anymore. And so that since we had the freedoms to do things we can't do today. So we boys, there's about 6 of us. We get the one guy who had the car, and it was a convertible. It was a Pontiac convertible.
Nice.
And he would come by and pick us all up at our homes. He would come by and pick us up one at a time. And there'd be about 6 or 7 of us in the big Cadillac convertible. And we'd drive out onto the islands as the Navy and all the people were scrambling to get off the islands. On one side of the bridge, it was just filled with people getting back to the mainland. On the other side of the bridge was crystal clear. There's nobody going out. Everybody's getting off. Excuse me. And so we would drive out to the islands, and everybody's trying to get off. Well, we're going out. And we'd have a case of beer, and we'd go out there, and then we'd go out to the second island, and then we had a huge fishing pier, and I do mean it was enormous. Went way out into the Gulf of Mexico, way out, couple, 3 blocks. And we would go out there, the boys, myself and my friends, we would go out to the end of that pier, about 2.5, 3 blocks out, and, facing the incoming hurricane.
Wow.
And we would sit there and drink beer and shoot the breeze and eat sandwiches, and we were having fun, just the 6 boys. And we would watch the hurricane. We'd watch the waves getting bigger and bigger, and the dark clouds. You could see all this dark black clouds on the horizon, and we knew the hurricane is coming in, and she's coming fast. And yet we would be sitting there drinking beer like a bunch of goofballs and enjoying the thrill of getting that close to nature.
Right. I mean, good thing you weren't surfing out there like this. You could take a time out, Jordan.
Excuse me. And so,
get a glass of water, my friend.
When it got to be so bad, when the waves were almost up to our feet, because we were very high up on a very big pier, but when the waves are now right under our feet, and the whole pier, every time the big wave would come in, the pier would shake and sway.
Right.
And we could feel the entire pier swaying from the power of the wave hitting us. And so it became obvious, we all agreed, it's time to get the hell out of here and get out of this island.
It's time to get out of Dodge, or like you say from the Bible, get the hell out of her, right?
Yeah, and do it now if you're going to do it at all.
Jordan,
and so we pack up our stuff real quick, all 6 of us, and we run back on that pier. And every time the wave would hit it, we, some of us would trip and fall because it was like an earthquake to the pier. It just knocked your feet out from under you. The pier was so hit so hard. And so we got back in the car. It's now pouring rain. The wind is now really bad, and the waves are coming in huge. And we crank up, and thank God the engine cranked up, and then we would race out of there to get back on the bridge. Well, when we got on the bridge to get back to the mainland, it was all empty. Everybody with any brains is already gone.
Ghost town.
And right now. We would speed across that bridge, which was stupid to start with, speeding across a bridge during the coming storm. And then we hit the second bridge, and there's nobody there either. No military, nobody, nothing. And by the time he got us back to our homes, and I got back to my house and found out my family wasn't there, so I had to assume that my family went to my aunt's house, my mom's sister, because she had a huge, big brick house that was very well built. We were in a wooden house, but my aunt lived in a very, very sturdy brick house, so I just assumed that's where my family went. And so they drove me down to my aunt's house, and sure enough, my mom and dad were there, my brother, and other family members were there too. And so we went through 7 major hurricanes in my lifetime, and I remember looking out the window one morning during one of the really worst hurricanes, and I saw double semi-trucks, big double trucks, bent in two. And they're bent in two, and then they're going down the street, just destroying cars and property as they're going down the street. They're being blown down the street, and they are scraping both sides of the street with cars parked. And so I saw trucks being blown down the streets and tearing up cars as they were going. And then after the hurricanes were finally over for 2 or 3 days, we stayed with my aunt until things were really calm again. And then we went out, and boy, what a destruction, what an incredible sight, with huge, enormous trees and big buildings over on the side, and trees especially everywhere, all pulled up the roots.
Wow.
You know, they just pulled up by the roots. So I've been through 7 major hurricanes, and I've been through all of the major earthquakes. Since 1959, I went through all of the big earthquakes in California, all the hurricanes, all of the tragedies. I've been through all of it. I've been there and done that. I'm 77 years old. I look back on my life, and it's just a wonder that we're even alive. And some of the stupid things I did, the other boys with me, some of the stupid stuff we did, it's a wonder we're alive. But
sounds
there was somebody watching over us, and
you know it. Sounds like me at 15 too. We're not that different, Jordan. But I'm really scared shitless. Actually, I have nephews, brother-in-law, his family, and my granny-in-law. I got them all out there in the Hollywood area, the Boca Raton area. I mean, I'm really scared right now for them. Just knowing what we know, that this is a man-made weather weapon. I'm scared shit. I'm trembling like a dog. Eating razor blades, shitting them out, Jordan.
Yeah, I'm telling you, if you go on the web and go to YouTube and see, it's frightening to me.
Yes.
Excuse me, I've got a bad lung problem here.
Oh no! If you want to take a time out, Jordan, take a glass of water.
No, I'm all right now. Anyway,
good.
But if you see the long line as far as you can see, from an airliner, from an airplane.
Yes.
You can see out into the far distance at the curvature of the earth. You can see long lines of cars getting out of Florida, and there's just millions of cars, and they're all trying to get out of Florida. And the logic alone tells me each one of those cars have, families, children and kids and mom and dad, and those cars need fuel. Well, so do the people. They need to eat too.
Yeah.
And so all of those cars, by the millions, are lined up as far out in the horizon as you can see. And they're not moving very fast because there's a lot of stupid people who are just dragging their feet and not knowing what they're doing. So that the masses of millions of people have to wait until all the fruitcakes, goofballs, dimwits can get their ass out of the way so they can get off the island or off of the peninsula. I'm thinking those cars all need gas. And what are they going to do? They're just as far out as the eye can see as lines of cars. The gas is only, and each car is only going to last so long. And what are they going to do when they run out of gas?
Right.
What are they going to do when the children are hungry?
That little tow truck that's on the side of the freeway could only gas up so many people at a time.
That's right.
It's not like they have hundreds of them out there. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Jordan. No, what a calamity. What a calamity.
What a horrible, horrible, tragic calamity because you've got children that need to go to the bathroom, you've got adults that need to go to the bathroom.
The elderly.
Yeah, you got the elderly who are sick and old and dying, and they need doctors. And you got the children who are starving and hungry. But there's only so much gas in the car, and you're only going to go so far. And when the gas gives out, you're going to be stuck or you can't move. That means the million people behind you are not going to be able to move either because you can't move.
Right.
But you're not the only one. There's going to be, thousands that run out of gas, and the millions behind you are not going to be able to go anywhere. And the storm is coming, and so I look at all of this and I just shake my head because I know this is a catastrophe that nobody seemed to realize could happen. But it's happening, and I think it's all man-made, and the people who are doing it couldn't care less about the children and the humans in cars. And even if you got into a car and got out, where are you going to go once you get out of Florida? Now what? Nobody else wants you. Nobody else is, you're not going to go to Mississippi. My God, they got to have problems of their own without having you come in. and Alabama, they got to have problems trying to stay alive in the hurricane, and they only have so much food and gas too. And now you and 1 million more like you are hitting Mobile, Alabama. They don't have room for 5 people, much less 5 million.
It's all a bunch of ants fighting over one crumb.
Yep. And so it's all very, very frightening. It's all very, very serious. And so I don't know what to say about it.
Well, Jordan, are you familiar with the I Am America Earth Changes map? It's this map by Dr. Lori Del Toy, and a couple of, I think 2 authors came up with it.
Yeah,
but it literally shows California, Oregon inundated, the exact disaster path of Harvey in Texas, and even what could happen right now in Florida with Irma, and New York, forget about it, it's gone. So, I mean, is this map going to come to fruition? I certainly hope not, but it's looking like it. It's insane.
Well, there's been quite a few organizations and people have come out with these maps that show dire death and consequences to America. What was that first one? Many years ago, Art Bell had this guy on talking about the end of the world, etc. And Art Bell just loved him and had him on every weekend. Can't remember his name right now, but he put out this big map about the end of America. It's going to be on the whole West Coast is going to be underwater, and the whole East Coast is going to be destroyed and all that. And I don't remember his name, but since then there's been about a dozen more organizations and people coming out with these maps of destruction, etc. Well, the Georgia Guidestones talked about leveling down civilization to only 500 million people on the earth.
That's what's going on.
Which means you got to get rid of about 7.5 billion people. So you want to talk about destruction? There's one for you. 7.5 billion people dead. So who's going to bury all that?
My God, Jordan! I mean, we're literally in like end times. I mean, Bangladesh is underwater right now. Houston underwater. Mexico, people are puffing bricks and dust, and they're submerged in just rubble. I mean, you got 3 hurricanes. Wow, what is happening? I mean, literally, I think we're going to ride this one out to the end, brother. We're going to see it. We're going to see this one, to the end.
Well, remember, we're not there yet, but we are coming into the age of Aquarius.
That's right.
And Aquarius is represented symbolically, has always been represented symbolically, by a man with a pitcher of water. And he's pouring the water out onto the earth. And so it's a man with a pitcher of water. And he's referred to as the water bearer. And so today we're looking at the coming of the age of Aquarius. It won't be here for another, I don't know how many hundreds of years. But I think probably, I forgot my calculations, how many years. I think it's over 150, 200 years yet before Aquarius is officially here. But each one of those ages, the age of Pisces, the age of Aquarius, the age of Taurus. Each one of those ages is 2,150 years long. And so the age of Taurus, which was the bull, this is why the Jews have the Jews have the symbolism of astrology, and all their religion is an astrological religion. And then after the age of Taurus, the bull, which we hear about in the Bible, about the golden calf. When Moses goes up to the mountain, he comes down and sees the Jewish people worshiping the golden calf.
Or the Canaanite.
Well, the golden calf is golden as the sun, and the calf is a bull. So it's the sun in the age of Taurus, the bull.
Right.
Then after Taurus, the next age coming in is Aries, the ram. So therefore, the Jews now no longer have a golden calf in their seminaries and in their synagogues. They no longer have a golden calf. They do today. They still have a shofar, which is a ram's horn, that they're blowing a ram's horn, where the ram is, of course, Aries, the ram. And so they're blowing the ram's horn for the sun in the age of Aries. And then what's the next one after Aries is Pisces. And so 2,000 years ago began the coming of the age of Pisces. But I think that Pisces did not officially begin until about 324, 325 AD. And if I'm correct with that calculation, that Pisces began in 325 AD, then you have to count 2,150 years from 325 AD.
Right.
And I think that puts you at about another 150 years or more, maybe another 200 years yet. But we are the lion's share of that 2,150 years of Pisces, which started back in 325. Well, we are now at 2017. And so we have gone through the major part, and there's only a few more years left of Pisces. So therefore we are in the dawning of the age of Aquarius. The song did not say we're in Aquarius. It's the dawning of the age of Aquarius, meaning the sun is not in Aquarius, but it's coming up. It's getting ready to rise in the age of Aquarius. So it's the dawning of the age of Aquarius. It's not here yet, but it's real close. We've already gone through 2017 years of Pisces. And if the age is 2,150 years, if we got about 140 years more before we go into it, well, but we're only 140 years from the age of Aquarius, so you can see the water's coming now.
Wow.
The oceans are acting up, the rivers are acting up, and the gods themselves are pouring out water on the earth. The age of Aquarius. And so I just see that all of this stuff is being man-made because the religions are man-made, and there's been an occult knowledge, a hidden knowledge of religion, the philosophies, and the occult or hidden world of spirituality that the human race has not been privy to know about. But there are certain people on this earth who know exactly what they're doing, exactly what they're going to do, and how many people are going to die, and how they're going to do it, how they're going to get rid of us with floods and tornadoes and earthquakes and Fukushima, and God knows all the rest of this stuff that the highest intellects on the earth today are controlling our technology. And we know that we've gone out to the stars already. We know that we can create, earthquakes and storms, etc. So I'm just kind of sitting watching what the guys who are in charge of this earth, what they're doing, and how they're going to kill us, and how they're going to destroy the human family, in preparation for a coming new world order. And the new order that's coming in is not going to be anything human about it. So that's where the subject of transhumanism comes into the picture now. We're seeing a whole new effort put on crossbreeding animals with humans and crossbreeding humans with computers and putting human cells into computers so the computer can think like a human.
Wow.
And then eventually maybe there's going to be some kind of an alien nation of aliens who are going to come here or who are already here, and they are blending themselves with humans so that eventually the whole human race will no longer look like anything you've ever imagined. We're going to be a robotic droids with computerized brains and computerized lives. And there's going to be no freedom, no liberty, no justice, no kindness, no concern for older people or children, no women, no concern for anybody. It's just going to be a whole, like I've said before, a prison camp on earth. It's going to be computerized so that the masters who own the human race do not have to worry about your opinions anymore. They don't have to worry about what China thinks or what Russia thinks or what America's going to do or South America. They don't have to worry about none of that. It's going to be all computerized. Everybody's going to be locked into a computer.
Yeah, just look who ran IBM, the Nazis.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's exactly right.
They know what they're going to do, and
they know what they're going to do.
They want to say that it can scapegoat Satan. They'll be like, "Oh, it's all Satan's fault." Really?
Oh,
it's really Satan's fault, and they don't even know the difference between Satan and Lucifer. But you do.
Yeah. Well, Lucifer is actually Jesus. If you want to get technical about it. Go into the Bible. And
you could tell like this story a million times till you're blue in the face, but certain idiots are like, they don't see the metaphor.
No, I know. They're not supposed to. Only those who are supposed to see will.
Right.
That's why the Bible has Jesus saying, you have eyes, but do not see. You have ears, but you do not hear. And with your heart, you don't get the sense of it. And so that's the case today, that people are hearing, but they're hearing, but they're not hearing. They're listening. They're hearing, but they're not listening. And they're seeing, but they don't see with their eyes. And so I don't care. I just do the best I can because I'm like a watchman on the wall, so to speak. In the military, the way it's always been for thousands of years, when the troops are at night they want to sleep. Well, not everybody can sleep because you're at war and you have enemies. So the enemies are going to hit you when you least expect it. So and the least expect is when you're sound asleep. And so you have sentries. You have guys who are appointed by the military, to stay awake and keep your eyes open, looking through the telescope and looking through the binoculars, and keep your eyes open for any problems that's coming. So you can wake up the rest of the troops.
It's war all the time. War on the civilian. War on you and me, and the American people.
That's exactly right. And so there has to be somebody staying awake to see the trouble coming and to warn the people. And so the Bible talks about the man on the wall. You're up on the wall watching whereas your fellow man and your country sleeps. But you stay awake to make sure if there's any problem, you can wake everybody up. Well, now I find out people don't want to be waking up. They don't want to wake up. They don't want you to awake them. They're tired. They're sleeping. They're exhausted. They don't want to be woke up. So if you slip into a guy's bedroom when he's sound asleep, and you slip in and flip on a 600-watt bulb next to his bed, he's not going to be very happy with you and not going to consider it to be a joke. Not going to be a joke at all. He's going to be really pissed at you because he was sound asleep and you flip on a 600-watt bulb next to him when he's sleeping. Well, that's what's happening. People that are trying to wake you up, and people don't want to wake up. They're sound asleep and they want to stay asleep. So I just do what I do the best I can to kind of wake people up. And if they're supposed to wake up, they will. And if they're not supposed to, they won't. So I don't care. I just do what I do. I mean, I'm not responsible to wake everybody up. I'm responsible to call out and call people to wake up.
And it's a good thing you're not, because that's like putting a big old target crosshair right on your back, right?
Yeah, well, not only that, but if you were charged with the responsibility to wake everybody up, it's like somebody charging you with the responsibility to empty the Atlantic Ocean with a cup. And so, you got 360 million people in America, and there's only one me, and I'm doing the best I can to wake up 360 million people, and millions of people don't even know what I'm talking about, and the rest don't even care.
Well, they could find out if you lead them to your research society, which I've become a part of. Why don't you tell them, Jordan, about your amazing research society, and I mean the library, the vast library of knowledge that is in that society research?
Well, yeah, if you go on my website, there's other websites out there with my name on it, so you have to know where my website is, because you're hearing it from me with my voice. With my voice, I'm telling you what my website is. It's Jordan Maxwell Show. Jordan Maxwell Show is my home website. It's a podcast website. Now, there are other websites that I own, but they're on the Jordan Maxwell Show website. One of them is JordanMaxwellVideos.com. And but you'll find that on my Jordan Maxwell Show website. And so you can order my videos on JordanMaxwellVideos.com. But also on my Jordan Maxwell Show original website is a research society. And if you go on Jordan Maxwell Show, you will see pop up right in front of you a little flyer that says, join the Jordan Maxwell Research Society website. And all that is just another website in which I'm uploading every day all kinds of information on audio, videos, free ebooks, research papers, research documents, words to research. All of my research work for over the years on all kinds of subjects is on that research website, and you can join it for a $30 donation to the website. All right there, and there's a lot on there, but boy, there's a lot more coming. I have like a full terabyte, which is 1,000 gigs of more information that needs to go up on my research website, but my webmaster is only human and can only do so much per day. So there's a lot of new stuff on my website, Jordan Maxwell Research Society website, but there's a lot more coming. And so, like I said, you can join it for a $30 donation to the website, and it's all right there on Jordan Maxwell Show.
Amazing. Now, we're speaking with Jordan Maxwell. You're listening to Saturday Night Montalvo, Bruce Montalvo Show, broadcasting on Spreaker.com, joined by Jordan Maxwell, legendary esoteric researcher and scholar. Now, Jordan, before we sign off, just want to get your thoughts on this, on the Da Vinci Code. I know you've spoken about it before, but why don't you tell us about it now?
Well, I think that my video I did many, many years ago, back in 1990 or 91, I think, something like that. I did a video called, which I didn't have a name for it, and so it became known as the Basic Slide Presentation. I didn't have a name for it. I just did a presentation in Pasadena, and there was a lady there who had a video camera, and so she wanted to know if she could videotape my presentation. So I was doing a slide presentation on the secret societies and all the hidden knowledge of the world, on symbolism and governments and all that kind of thing. And so she videotaped the first 2 hours, but I actually did 4 hours. And so at the end of the 2 hours, I took a break, and then she came up to me and she said, I videotaped the first 2 hours. I don't have any more tape for the next 2. But I feel that this is really your work, so you should have it. So she gave me the 2 hour, tape of my presentation, and I told her, I thanked her, and I put it in my pocket. But I wasn't interested in that tape, because I'm the one that gave the presentation, and I'm not interested to sit and watch me do my presentation again. I'm not interested in it. I'm the one that did it to start with.
Been there, done that.
Been there and done that. And so after a while, before I was getting ready to leave, after the second hour, and then question and answers, and then hanging around chit-chatting with everybody, but when I was leaving, I quietly took that tape and dropped it in the trash. And my friend there was a friend of mine that was there, and he saw me drop it in the trash. I didn't know he saw me, but he did. And so he came over when I wasn't there and picked it up out of the trash. And he took it home. And he started making copies of it and sending it out to his friends all around the world, and sending it out to TV stations, etc.
That's nice.
And that video became a major video back in the early 90s. It's called the Basic Slide Presentation. And it's a 2-hour video that was done on me, and I threw it in the trash, and he picked it up and started selling it and reproducing it. And then other people, when they would buy a copy of the tape, they would make copies and they would sell it. And so I then began, later on, about 6 months to a year later, I began getting emails and letters from people from all over the world wanting more copies of my video. And I thought to myself, what video? And then I found out in Africa, all over Africa, that they were selling that video, reproducing it and selling it all over Europe. And I found out all over Malaysia and in Asia and China they were selling my video. And it just went major all over the world.
Mega
People
viral.
were buying copies of it. The thing that I threw in the trash, they were selling millions of copies around the world. And so that got me kind of started on the idea that, wow, I mean, people are interested in this subject that much. Maybe I should do more. And so that's what I started doing. And I started doing videos and lectures, and eventually I got invited to speak at big conferences all around the world. So all of that said, that's who I am, and that's what I do, and I've been doing it now for 58 years. 2 years from now, it'll be 60 years I've been speaking to audiences and trying to wake people up and show them what's really going on the earth. So if you are interested in this kind of dark and strange research into the world you live in, just go on JordanMaxwellShow.com and join the Research Society. It's only a $30 donation one time for a lifetime subscription. Jordan Maxwell Show.
It's definitely well worth it. But about the Da Vinci Code, I mean, you exposed it. I mean, you've been saying for years, exposing Jesus basically as a metaphor. And this movie, it basically just it tried to pass off that, that he existed, which is total metaphor. So it was just a total farce. It was trying to take from, a druid.
Well, let me say
and
that you're talking about Da Vinci Code.
Yes.
And that was Brown, was his last name?
Dan Brown, yes.
Dan Brown. Well, I have no respect whatsoever for Dan Brown. None.
Yeah, he stinks.
I have no respect for him whatsoever. I have no respect for what he has done with that book. As far as I'm concerned, that book is a plagiarized piece of crap. It's plagiarized. And he stole it. And nothing new in that story. That story was written many years before Dan Brown's name ever appeared on it. The people who actually came up with that story was 1,000 times more intelligent than him. 1,000 times more brilliant and intellectually superior to Dan Brown, anything Dan Brown produced. And I don't think for a moment, I'm not deceived, I don't think for a moment Dan Brown wrote anything. I think Dan Brown is part of a secret society that they picked to promote him, just like they picked, different people to write certain books that they never wrote at all.
Oh yeah, they gave him the script.
They gave him the script and told him just, wear a nice suit and a tie and comb your hair, and we'll make you look like a big star, and we're going to make the movie. You're not going to, because you don't have brains enough to. But we'll make the movie, and then we'll say you wrote the book. Yeah. So if anybody jumps on us for being plagiarizing, they'll jump on you. We'll put your name on it.
The Pope's people gave Dan Brown the script. They gotta kiss the Pope's ring and bow down to that mafia over there at the Vatican, right?
Yep, and so Dan Brown is nothing more than just a plagiarizing, goofball, and I got no respect for people like that at all. Right. If you want to read the real story upon which Dan Brown's book, The Da Vinci Code, if you want to read the real story, if you can handle it, we have to go back to 1980. The book was called Holy Blood, Holy Grail, by three guys named Bagehot, Lee, and Lincoln. There are three guys in London, England, who worked for the BBC television, and they were writers and producers of television shows. And the last names for the three guys was Bagehot, Michael Bagehot, Henry Lee, and Henry Lincoln. So it's Bagehot, Lee, and Lincoln. And they were three producers in England who produces a television show like 60 Minutes. And they picked on a subject about Jesus and whether he was here or not, and what the ancient secret societies had to say about Jesus. And their book was called Holy Blood, Holy Grail. So if you want the real story, that's a magnificent book. And they've written about 10 other books after that. So, I mean, it's a major story that Bagehot, Lee, and Lincoln have put together, about 10 different books on that subject over the years. And so Dan Brown, who's nothing but a phony, a dimwit phony who would allow his name to be put on something which is so overwhelmingly obvious, stolen from Bagehot, Lee, and Lincoln.
If that even is his name, I mean, it sounds kind of like a pen name.
That's probably Brown. True. It's probably, there is no Dan Brown. They got pay some actor, put a shirt and tie on him and comb his hair and send him out there, and he'll be Dan Brown.
Just another
and sign all the autographs, and then the people will think, oh, he's such a genius, never realizing he was just some dimwit they picked up in the street and pay him a couple $100 to go out and call it and tell everybody he's Dan Brown who wrote Da Vinci Code.
Well, Jordan, Dan Brown
is ridiculous.
Dan Brown is no different than the monkey that has to perform the acts on the side of like Madison Square Garden. The guy with the monkey.
Yep. or the silly big bird out there at the football game dancing around the field. That's all Dan Brown is, just a big bird dancing around to draw the attention to this silly-ass movie, Da Vinci Code. Absolutely ludicrous and stupid.
Yeah.
But that's okay. It was made for the Americans and made for the Western people for entertainment. It wasn't supposed to be intelligent. It wasn't.
It did kind of raise...
You will also see that nobody is touching the book Holy Blood, Holy Grail, which was a historically accurate stuff in that book. The rest of Dan Brown's thing was all about imagination and nonsensical Hollywood stuff.
If anything, the movie just showed some historical, druidic temples that originated, the Knights Templar. It kind of delved into it just a little bit, but it was so watered down.
Very briefly. But Dan Brown, as far as I'm concerned, I have no respect for. He's lower than the lowest. I would never have the guts to do that. To take a very famous story written by some very impressive, intelligent guys who have put together a really brilliant book, and then a couple of years later, I take that book and I write a movie based on that book, and I change all the different subjects and change it all, and then present myself to the world as Dan Brown, the Da Vinci Code.
Despicable.
I mean, I don't have that kind of guts. I wouldn't do something like that, because I would know. I'm not stupid. I know there's going to be a lot of people who are going to know I'm just a lying, a plagiarizing liar that didn't write anything. So I would never subject myself to that. But if he's making enough money that he doesn't mind being ridiculed by people like me who know who he is and know what he's done. But he doesn't care. He's happy all the way to the bank. He made a lot of money off of using somebody else's intellectual work.
Absolutely
so
right.
I don't have any respect for him or that movie. Period.
That's what I wanted to hear you say.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jordan, it's we're winding down. It's been great having you on. You're one of the best guests, most consistent guest on the Bruce Montalvo show, and it is a pleasure having you on. I look forward to having you on again and again and again. I'm
always here. It's up to you to tell me, because I'm always here, but I'm not going to be here forever. I'm 77, so I'm not expecting to be here for a long time yet. So whenever you want to do a show, just let me know. I'm
Jordan,
always here.
Let me tell you something. You need to take this tea, this Chinese tea, this Denchin tea. It's a good tea. It's good for the heart. Anyway,
yeah,
this is my wife, Jaja. Big fan of yours.
Hi there. Did I hear a feminine voice?
Yes, that's me, Jaja. How are you?
Okay.
I love you.
I thought so.
I listen to everything you say. Yeah. Bruce did say something about the Denchin. It's a Chinese tea. I can send you the name of it and where to get it. It's very good for your heart and lungs and.
Well, that's good.
We also do
that on the email to me. Incidentally, have you ever wondered why the human heart is on the left side in your chest? Why is it on the left side of your body?
I heard that once. I've heard it once before, but go ahead.
Well, what is left? What is the word left in Latin?
Sinister.
Is that interesting?
Yeah.
Sinister.
Wow.
What does that imply? If something is sinister?
I know that because I'm a part of Jordan Maxwell's Research Society, folks.
Yeah, well, anything which is sinister implies, in the English language, sinister means evil. And so we have two kinds of government. We have a left wing and right wing. Well, the left wing, then it's sinister. Well, my God, the Democratic Party couldn't be more sinister if they tried.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And so that's why the heart is on the left-hand side.
Wow.
because lust is sinister, and the Bible even says that. The heart is treacherous, and who can know it? And it's true, because the human heart has the ability, which most people don't know. The human heart has the ability, we've proven it in tests, that it has the ability to think on its own. So you actually have two motivating brains that operate your person. One in your head and one in your heart. Most people do not know that the heart has the ability to think and make decisions for itself, which are totally against what the brain has decided what it wants.
Yeah, no, that's true.
The heart can overrule that.
Yeah, I believe that also. That's how I met Bruce. My head was telling me don't go there, but my heart kept saying yes.
It's all funny.
Well, that's what we say. That's why we call it falling in love.
Well, it's all in the stars, Jordan. She's a Gemini.
You were doing just fine until you fell. We said, boy, he fell for it. Or she fell for that story, or he fell for this, or he fell for that. That's where we get the idea that certain people are called fellows. And this is a nice fellow, or he's good fellow. Fellow comes from the word feller, someone who causes you to trip and fall. He's a feller, and so that was a word that was attributed in what we call the Hebrew language to the Anunnaki, were called fellows because they cause people to fall.
Wow.
Well, speaking
of which, they're not good fellas; they're just fellas.
Right.
And so, anyway, it's a very interesting world we live in, and there's a very dark stuff going on all around us.
Yeah,
words are very important.
That's why I started a business with my wife, Jordan, because we were a business. But go on, Steve.
But I want.
Well, yeah, because every man, woman, and child in America, especially every man, woman, and child actually it's in Western civilization, all English-speaking Judeo-Christian countries of the world. Every man, woman, and child is a company. It's a corporation. So your body is a corporation. And so, therefore, if you are a corporation, then you are a company. And that's why when I see you come out of a restaurant one morning with a particular guy or a particular girl, and I say to you, that girl you were with last night, she's bad company. And you say to me, mind your own business. And we're getting married, she's going to be my partner. So I'm saying, wait a minute, partner? Business, company. It sounds like commerce. Sounds like business to me. Happily, what you're doing is none of my business. And who I sleep with is none of your business.
Right.
And so, but it's a business. It's just a company. It's a business. And so when you get married, it's just a business. Thank God it's none of my business, but it is a business, so that's why you have to have a license. It's a business license.
Anyway, Jordan, give me a second.
If your business does not work out, you're not going to God, you're going to court. So bring your house, your children, your car, and your money, because it's just a business.
That's right. Jordan, my wife's got something to say. John, I just want to say something to you.
I wanted to ask you about this Florida thing, and, it looks like there's a lot of Jews that live in Florida and a lot of black people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, are the people that are steering, and I believe that they're steering the storm, I mean, are they trying to hurt the Jewish people again, do you think?
No, I think that it's true, though, that South Florida is pretty much Jewish. And even the comedians, even though the Jewish comedians laugh about, all the Jews, the retiring Jews, they go to South Florida.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because South Florida is a beautiful place. It has the potential to be a beautiful place, and it's all beaches and beautiful sunshine and beaches everywhere. And so that's why if you're in New York and or Chicago and you made a lot of money when you retire, go down and lay on the beach in Florida.
Yeah.
and watch the ships go into the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
But I don't think that anybody is particularly aiming this at Jews now. I think they're aiming it at the whole human race, because whoever these people are who are running the planet, they're not human. They're not subhuman. They're above human.
But they're going to ruin the plot. I mean, I don't understand the monetary gain in it. Right? Nobody's going to want to rebuild if they destroy it. You see, it's like they could say, oh, they're going to mess the infrastructure up and then rebuild it. And people are not going to want to live there if they really demolish it.
Well, not only that, we don't have enough money to buy groceries. How are we going to rebuild Florida and rebuild the East Coast?
That's so true, Jordan. I mean, there's people right now fighting over the last Hungry Man TV dinner right now to the death.
That's right. And so, but America is broke. Our industry is gone. Our infrastructure is falling apart. People are losing their homes. They're losing their jobs. They're losing their country, and the only thing left now to lose is your mind. So people are now losing their mind and killing each other. And every day you pick up the paper and see somebody's got somebody went in a restaurant and killed 14 people, and they got a $200 fine and let them go and go back out and kill some more people. The whole world is lying, like the Bible says. The whole world is lying in the power of the wicked one. Translating that to mean the entire human race is in the power of some dark, evil, demonic depravity. People at the very top who don't give a damn about the human race or your life or anything else. They're not human.
So I gather you don't believe in karma, right?
Yeah. Well, I think there is something to karma. I hope there is. Because there's a lot of people that need to have their comeuppance, but I don't have any control over the world I live in. I just know about it. I understand it, but I don't have any control.
Is there any place to look at to think? I mean, Bruce brought up the I Am America map, but is there any other place to consider where not to live? Because these disaster zones are going to ruin people.
Well, first of all, it's the Earth. The Earth itself is now in its last days. So it really doesn't seem to me to be, where can we go? Where can we go to be safe? South America is, beautiful and gorgeous, and there's, a lot of beautiful places to live in Brazil and South America, but on the other hand, Brazil and all of South America are falling apart with hurricanes and volcanoes and
Marxist, communist scum,
communist revolutions, yeah. Nazi revolutions.
I lived in Brazil for 2 years. It's not great. I mean, it's really not.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. So I don't think that there is any place on Earth left now that would be good for people to go to, because wherever, if there were, but there isn't. But if there was places on the Earth that would be wonderful to go to, the people who are already there don't want you there. They're not interested in having you come there.
That's right.
So, I don't know. I think now the human race has come to a place where they are blocked in now. They're being blocked into where two corners come together, two walls come together, and you're being walled in. And you painted yourself into a corner, and there's no place to run now.
Wow.
There's no place to run and no place to hide. And so now we're going to face the ultimate tragedy of seeing that the people who are running this planet are not human, and I think that they are probably extraterrestrial, and what they have in mind for us, you don't want to know.
Jordan, they say that, it's so bad that Trump sold out to the Democrats. I think Trump sold out to aliens.
Well, I think he had to.
Yeah.
Because if there are aliens here, you don't have a choice.
It's just insanity with tsunamis, hurricanes, earthquakes, UFO sightings. It'd just be Nazis now taking their cars for a spin, for all we know. But that's what it is, and it's like the end of the world. It really is.
Well, I've been saying that for a long time.
You're not just Henny Penny. Now we're living through it. But I hope that you're here next week. And you know what? If we wake up tomorrow in the morning, it'll be a good thing because we won't be dead, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's true. And then, of course, you'll wish you were. But
oh no!
I always tell people. People tell me all the time. They will say, well, people are waking up now all over the world. People are waking up. To which I say, well, first of all, that's what prisoners do. When you're in a federal prison and you got 40 years sentence, every morning you wake up. But it doesn't do you any good. You might as well go back to bed because you're not going anywhere for the next 40 years. So why wake up? Stay in bed. And so, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah, it's a train coming, Airhead. And so my feeling is that, we're coming to a place now where we're finally going to awaken to the fact that there's no place to run and you've screwed up big time in your life and you haven't prepared for what's coming and you have no idea and you didn't want to know, you didn't want to listen, and now you're going to be faced with the harsh reality that there is no God, there is nobody coming back to save you, there's nothing coming back to help or save you or protect you. And the only thing you had going for yourself was your own intelligence, and you gave that up a long time ago. So now we're going to pay the price for, the idea was play now and pay later.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing. We've been playing all this time and having fun, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and ball games and football games and all the entertainments and movies. But now the end is coming, and the whole world is now beginning to see we have to get out of here. We got to get in a car and get out of here. There ain't no place to run to. And if you do run, there's going to be 40 million more people out there on the highway before you. So there's no place to run. Now you're going to have to just sit back and watch the end come. And now I know there are going to be people who want to know. Now they want to know. I've been trying for 60 years to tell them, but nobody's listening.
Yeah, I told my little 10-year-old nephew. I mean, he always asked me for conspiracies. And last week he asked me for some, and this week I said, "Hey, did you hear about the weather weapons?" And then he didn't, and he's been watching them in Florida, scared out of his little butt.
He's got a tornado in his backyard and a hurricane, a horror cane about to. Oh my God!
I really feel sorry for young children, for young people, because they are innocent; they don't know. And the parents they're worse because they don't know either.
I tried to tell them too. Hey, get out of Babylon. Like you say, and they're not listening.
Well, they don't know.
I just pray that they're safe.
And I have a lot of young people writing me and wanting to. They want to tell me how they are following my work and they appreciate my work, but they are losing their friends. And nobody wants to talk to them. And they're losing their friendships and their boyfriend and their girlfriends because of pursuing this kind of knowledge. And I said, well, yeah, but that's the story of the New Testament. I mean, Jesus, he came to teach and to help and to cure people and to help people and to enlighten you. And, what did they do for him? They put him on a cross and spit on him, and he died. On the cross.
Well, yeah, they pardoned Barabbas, the criminal.
Give us Barabbas. We want Barabbas. We don't want to talk to Jesus. We're not interested in the truth. Can't handle the truth.
And you know what bothers me, Jordan? This age-old lie that it's, the Jews killed Jesus. The Jews killed Jesus. All these idiot Catholics that spew it. When in reality, last time I checked, Jack, it was a bunch of Romans that beat him like within an inch of his life, supposedly in the story. and gambled his votes.
If you're going to go by the story,
Right.
it wasn't the Jews at all. It was a Roman, because, according to history, the Jews did not have the right to put anyone to death, because that time of history, 2,000 years ago, in the Middle East was under Roman rule. And
right.
under Roman rule, Rome could put you to death, not Jews. The same thing today. We have something called capital punishment, but that doesn't mean you can enact capital punishment. Nobody said you can do it.
Get down.
Government can do it, but not you. And so the black group gets together, and we, this country has capital punishment, so the blacks will get together and kill somebody. No, that's not the way it works. You don't have the right to capital punishment. The government does. Well, the government was Rome. Rome can put you to death, not the Jews. I mean, you can suggest to Rome that they ought to put somebody to death. Well, hell, we got in America today, everybody's suggesting somebody should be killed all day long. That's right. What they do.
It's funny,
nobody has the right to do it, but government.
Isn't it funny that Washington, D.C. was called Rome, Maryland at one point?
That's right. Sure was.
Wow.
And my family, one of my family, I don't know if I ever told you this about my family. One of my ancestors signed the Declaration of Independence. His name was on the Declaration of Independence.
Wow. From
my family. And my mother used to tell me that my family was the Carroll family, and she would spell it always, Carroll. And she said the Carroll family were from Maryland, and they were Washington, D.C. property. And so I was from, my family is the Carroll family from Washington, D.C.
And you would think with all the connections that you had, and all the respectable reputation that you had come to the earth with, the people in Hollywood would have given you credit for so much of what you've said and researched,
Base it all on it.
I always say the bank has to give me credit because Hollywood has to give me credit because the bank won't.
I mean, I empathize with you because I have to tell you, I'm a visual artist. I went to federal court myself for copyright infringement. I took somebody to court. He stole 300 of my photographs, and he got famous. I had my photographs are in the Whitney Museum and the Museum of Modern Art. But still, because I'm a woman, they decided, and I'm Jewish, they decided to give it to a insider, a guy. He remade everything, and he just made himself look all dapper and walks around smiling, and the court was. I had a lawyer, but he only did so good, and then I went to the appellate court. I learned law myself, and I did get something overturned. I learned it with a vehement passion, for 2 years, and I fought. I stood up in front of 3 appellate judges, but still, I'm not a lawyer. They don't want to give it to again, a female who's fighting for her rights against Levi Strauss and this other artist.
Yeah, talk about real feminism.
They were insiders. Yeah. They were insiders, and
well,
that's
of course. I mean, you have no idea what's happened to me. I had somebody come in to be my webmaster, and I gave him the codes to my website, the username and the password. And shortly after I gave him the username and password, I discovered that my website does not belong to me anymore; it belongs to my webmaster. And then I discovered that the email list of 27,000 people no longer belongs to me, and so all of my personal emails for the last 7 years have gone to the webmaster. He rerouted my web emails to himself. So for 7 years, he's been reading all my personal emails coming to me that I don't get.
Yeah, but that's an FBI matter. I mean, that you should have complained to the FBI because this is a federal.
Well, it's called mail fraud and wire fraud and banking fraud.
Wow.
And then he also redirected my PayPal account and the bank account on the website I had. He redirected that to his personal bank account, And so now, then he took all of my videos, all my books and videos, and went sent them to Washington D.C. to for copyright. So now he owns the copyright to all of my videos and books that I produced over the years. They all belong to him.
But that's not true.
Where does this guy live so I could break his thumb?
No, but that's not true. You can copyright it also, and then you could sue him because you wrote it first, and he can't prove that he wrote it first. And the copyright starts with the minute you put the pen to the paper, and you could argue about dates, but then you can own the derivatives of what he did. You can
look at it. I know that.
It's just complicated.
But when we went to court, my attorneys finally. We now know because the federal court ordered PayPal to tell the court how much this asshole has made off of embezzling my money and embezzling my company. And just from 2010, January 2010 till 2014, in that 4-year period, he made $438,000. Just on PayPal alone, which does not include, cash checks and money orders. But just on PayPal for that 4 years is almost $500,000. And so he's making like $140,000 a year just on PayPal. And then from 2014 to 17,
this guy needs the FBI down
3 years. I don't know how much he's made. So. But so now we it finally came to a conclusion, and we finally got a conclusion. And the conclusion to my case of 7 years of embezzling, stealing everything I own, stealing my products, my name, my website, and everything else, it was settled in court. My attorneys did it. They settled it, and this is the settlement. All I have to do is pay the embezzler $60,000 in cash, and they will give me back my website and my email. They'll give me back my products and everything, and they're through with me. But I got to give them $60,000 more, and so nobody said anything about the felony of stealing money and financial elder abuse in California. Ripping off a 71-year-old man, taking everything he owns and leaving him for dead. Nobody gives a damn about that. Nobody cares anything about it. But just give them another $60,000 in cash, and then they will leave you. They'll leave you alone.
That's crazy.
No way.
So that's where I am now. I got to give them $60,000 in cash, and so I told my lawyers, I said, I don't have $60 for groceries. How am I going to give them $60,000 to these asshole embezzlers, who everybody, including the court, knows they're felony criminals, embezzlers, and yet the court and my attorneys are all happy with this new arrangement. Just give the embezzlers $60,000 more. And
pay for their attorney fees or whatever, or to get you out of the. And I had my music. I'm also a musician. I spent years making music. I had 7 albums. I have 7 albums, and it seems like the people, they're major. I don't want to mention names, but they're huge names in the music industry.
50 Cent.
Please stop. I don't want to mention their names, but they've remade every single song that I created, and they passed it around. I mean, they call my name out. They make fun of me.
You have no idea how many times I've heard that same story. I know professional musicians, who absolutely tell me some of the most horrific, off-the-wall shit that you have never heard that happens in Hollywood in the music industry. Is probably one of the most corrupt, dirtiest, filthiest operations going on in America today is the music industry in Hollywood.
Who's running it, Jordan? I mean, it's Laurel Canyon. It's a bunch of Nazis that settled in Rustic Canyon. I mean, back in the day, that's who runs it. But
I know. That's right. I mean,
they don't want to know.
CIA and NSA and the underworld, mafia, and It's just a really dark story, because I know I grew up when I first got here in '59. 58 years ago, I ended up on Laurel Canyon, up in Laurel Canyon and Mulholland, and that's right in the center of CIA, NSA, drug distribution, drug stuff, and the hippie movement, and Hollywood, and it's incredible stuff was going on. But I was young, and it didn't affect me, because I was always very cautious about going places and being with people. But I was around it. I knew all about it, but I just was protecting myself. I mean, we could talk about that for hours.
I know.
I could talk about all the shit that was going on in Laurel Canyon.
Wow.
So anyway.
It's dark.
They
want to make who they want to make famous, and it's like propaganda for the state. And they take it, and if they don't want you to be famous, they'll take you.
They pluck artists right out of Mulholland Drive that are related to military families, like Jim Morrison.
Right.
They'll come out of nowhere, and then they'll have the finest material in the world, but it's not theirs; it's somebody else's. And who is that person?
Well, that's why Hollywood is suffering box office lows, and because it's stolen property, right, Jordan?
Well, yeah, because people are starting to wake up around the world to what Hollywood's really all about. But, with the music industry in Hollywood, there's just a big story there. Big, big story. I could go on for hours telling you about stuff about child sacrifice, human sacrifice. There's a place up on Mulholland Drive I could take you if you were here. If you were in L.A., we were in L.A., I could take you up to a place where they actually still do human and child sacrifice.
In Rustic Canyon?
Yeah, in Los Angeles. It's up off of Coldwater Canyon, where it crosses Laurel Canyon. Laurel Canyon and Coldwater Canyon cross each other, and where they cross each other, there's a little road that goes off into the mountains, and I could take you down that road and show you. We have to get out of the car, and you got to walk for about a block up into the mountains, and you can't do it anymore. There's big signs, from the police department saying, "Do not pass this gate, and do not go here at all." And I know why. I know it was there because I used to go up there back in '59. So I know what's up there, why the city put that big sign now and big chains across the entrance to the mountain path that told you do not go here.
And
it's because there's a whole ritual altar out there with blood all over it, where they sacrifice children, sacrificed adults. In Hollywood, there's a lot of human sacrifice going on, a lot of bloodshedding and children being put to death in Hollywood. It's a big, big story. I know all about it. I've been out here for 60 years, so I know.
Excuse me, but didn't Hitler like come into the Hollywood through the Laurel Canyon and control or teach a certain amount of Americans?
Are you talking about Adolf Hitler?
Yeah, Adolf Hitler.
Yeah. Hitler was not here. He didn't get to America, but back then he didn't get to America. But the Nazis, who were Nazism did not begin in Germany. Hitler was not the father of Nazism. Nazism began in Laurel Canyon in Studio City in Los Angeles. In Studio City, which is the city where Laurel Canyon and Coldwater Canyon, all those different streets cross, and that's a very, very important area. It's called Studio City, and that's where all the big shot movie stars and recording stars, they all live up on the Hollywood Hills.
By Century City. Studio City.
The Nazism began in Studio City, And later on, the Nazi movement went from Studio City, Laurel Canyon, the CIA drug movement of the hippies and drugs and all that stuff, and but it all was born and raised in Studio City, and then the Nazis who were behind it all in the CIA, what we call today Operation Paperclip, they wanted and they bought a big, huge piece of property up in the mountains, and they remodeled this property and put in pools and water storage, 1,000-gallon water storage, and all kinds of elaborate underground tunnels and stuff in this property. And it was for Adolf Hitler. So when he took over the world, he could come to Los Angeles to live in the mountains in sunny California and live in this beautiful, gorgeous complex that the Nazis in America had bought for him and had it all remodeled. You can still go see it today. They have big signs saying this was built for the Fuhrer, who happily never got a chance to see it. And so Nazism and the anti-Jewish Nazism stuff, all of that began in Studio City in Los Angeles.
Right, that's where they filmed the moon landing and
all of it.
It's just a bunch of occultists out there. It's all just a big spell. They're getting their faces changed so they could break that spell of aging, so they could keep young and fresh. And with the child trafficking and the blood sacrifice. Oh my God, Hollywood is just disgusting.
Oh yeah, I know. Doesn't make you a bad person. I always say that. Doesn't make you a bad person just because you're killing children and raping and plundering.
Oh, no.
I mean, everybody's got little imperfections, so.
Swell.
Yeah, right.
So I just watch all this stuff and shake my head, and I can't believe it's all happening right here in front of me, and nobody else seems to care. Like George Carlin says, nobody knows, nobody seems to care, nobody noticed.
You're just watching from your little theater balcony right there in Los Angeles. You're watching over the depravity, right, Jordan?
Yeah.
From your
I'm
box
now
office
living
seat.
in Las Vegas.
Okay.
And I'm 9 stories up in a high rise, 1 block from what do they call it? I'm getting so old, I can't even remember what I was talking about. I'm living in Las Vegas, and it's called the Strip.
That's right.
And the Strip in Las Vegas is where all the hotels and all that stuff is.
Oh, fun.
Well, I live 1 block behind the MGM Grand in a high rise. I'm 9 floors up in a 10-story high rise. So I've got a little condo, 9 floors up, so at night I can go out in the patio, out in the balcony, and see all the lunacy going on a block away.
You can see the real Sin City.
Yeah.
The real city of sin. I'm gonna have to look you up, Jordan, when I go see the Blue Man Group over there.
Yeah, well,
I'm kidding.
Yeah, I'll be watching you through binoculars. Anyway, I'm going to go.
Okay, Jordan.
Nice
great
talking to you guys.
Thank you so much for being on, Jordan. It's wonderful having you on, and so much knowledge, and our hearts and prayers are with the people of Florida. And
yeah, I know. Me too. I feel very bad and feel very sorry for them. But I know you need to get over it because there's going to be a lot more deaths yet.
Wow.
A lot of people are going to die in Canada. A lot of people are going to die on the East Coast. Fukushima's already killed. 4/5 of the Pacific Ocean are now dead. And Fukushima, the radiation from Japan is so bad that I was reading a couple of days ago that people in Michigan, no, not Michigan,
Seattle?
Massachusetts. The farmers are dumping milk. They're dumping milk into the sewer. They said because the milk is so contaminated by strontium-90 and all this other radioactive stuff.
Wow.
And they said it's directly from Fukushima. But the milk is so bad they can't sell it.
Well,
now, that alone is amazing to me because we're talking about milk that is so contaminated you have to dump it. But where? It's in Massachusetts on the East Coast. Well, if it's on the East Coast that bad, what the hell is it like in California? That's 3,000 miles closer to Fukushima. So if it's already that bad on the East Coast, that means all of America is now soaked to the bone with radioactivity.
Yeah, but what you're not seeing is that Dan, a friend of mine who is Japanese, he told me that Dannon Yogurt actually bought a farm very close to Fukushima in Japan, and they are creating yogurt and milk products a few miles from the nuclear plant because it was so cheap, the land, so they brought their cows there. So maybe they were throwing out the actual end products from the cows from the Fukushima island.
Maybe.
Well, that just makes me feel warm and fuzzy all over.
Right?
Isn't that great? That's a beautiful move in business. Yeah. If you're don't worry about all that bullshit about the radio fallout. Why don't you just buy the damn place and create some new products and send it out? It'll kill the people. Don't worry about it. They're going to die anyway. Shit, they're already.
That's right.
They're already eaten up with Fukushima radiation. So make a few bucks anyway. Make a few dollars before they go.
Exactly. They'll never figure it out.
The cows.
So anyway, I just look at all of it, and I'm so impressed with everything. I'm going back to bed.
Gotcha.
All right.
All right. Those cows are eating the radioactive grass. You wonder why you get that milk radioactive. Anyway, Jordan Maxwell, thank you, Jordan, for being on the show. We'll talk to you soon.
Let's do it again. Okay, bye-bye.
Take it easy.
Bye.
Thank you for being on. Good night. The man, the myth, the legend, the esoteric master of occult researcher, Jordan Maxwell. We were joined by Jaja. That was nice having you on.
Yeah, I've been wanting to talk to Jordan for a while. I think I spoke to him once before.
Yeah, now the trolls are going to say that you, interrupted Jordan, and they're going to say the same mean things to you. They say on the millions and millions of hits. Well, we get a lot of hits when we bring Jordan on.
Everybody's got something to say,
They're just a bunch of trolls anyway. But we don't care because Jordan Maxwell, he's awesome. But we don't feed the trolls here, folks. We just punch them out. And wow, what a bad deal he got right there with he should have gone to the FBI. I mean,
well, yeah, they needed to bust him. I don't know. You know what it is? Just lawyers that have to then turn around, like I said, lawyers' fees. That's probably what they wanted to say. They go ahead if you don't win, or they sue you for legal fees. I didn't look at his case, but I just know because I would have gone against those other big people. But I got some threats from their lawyers saying that if you try to sue for me, we're going to sue you for slander. They could literally take me under, like they could sue me for slandering their artists, and it's like, I'm over it because...
Yeah, but they come up with these cockamamie deals that are like right out of the freaking Godfather, like really like, squeezing you,
Yeah, you're not supposed to go to copyright court. You're supposed to just, if they're really committing a crime, you go to the FBI and you just let them take care of it.
You don't do it in civil court. That's what you're saying, right? This is an FBI thing.
Yeah, it's criminal.
Right, it's criminal. You go to criminal court.
Criminal court. You don't go to fucking civil court.
Unbelievable.
I've already been to civil court a few times. I never won, but I didn't really lose. I mean, I did kind of win and I did kind of lose. So
okay,
that's how it is.
Well, enough of copyright. Before we sign out, I got to give some breaking news on the hurricane. What is going on, Jaja, right now with Hurricane Irma? Do we still have communication with our nephew
Yes.
that is live
Yeah, they're still
on scene for Boca Raton. He boarded up, him and his father, they boarded up, and his brothers, they boarded up the whole house, and it's like they bunkerized it. They're like, they got their food, they got their water, they got their bug out bags, and they got their steel handy in case somebody wants to come around and try to steal their TV. Wow. I mean, these next. That's why I want to have Jordan on, so I could kind of just kind of forget about it a little bit and just talk to him and have a great show, because I'm really, just really, really scared, upset. I mean, this is just very upsetting to me as an uncle to 4 rambunctious, kind little dudes. I want to make sure that they're safe. And, damn it, I wish I just had instant transmission, like Goku from Dragon Ball Z. You know what I'm saying? But it really is like these Pleiadian sons of God are touching down, or we're helping them touch down with all these weather weapons. And they're touching down, and now it's the end of humanity as we fucking know it.
I don't know what they're going to hit. It's very fucked up. So,
but what are some updates?
Nothing.
We get up and do a little 7-minute stretch here,
nothing really
folks.
that got hit. So
we see here there's a wind threat, potential impacts. The west, structural damage, destruction of mobile homes is what's expected. These wind threats and potential impacts as they're about to brace for impact in Florida, South Florida. The Keys. Trees and power lines down, damage to signs, damage to mobile homes, weak structures. So I mean, the brother and his family, they got a pretty good home, right? I mean, last time I went to go visit over there for some crumpets, they looked like it was a pretty well-built home. So as long as he boarded it up, that's us time traveling through the Skype. And all that bubbly, fuzzy Skype sounds are going to come through the show.
you asked me about my nephews, so I'm trying to check. So
That's right. Who knows? Maybe you could call him and he could be live on the Bruce Montalvo show.
yeah,
Who knows? I mean, for now, it's Storm Watch here. The Bruce Montalvo show after an epic show with Jordan Maxwell, the one and only Jordan Maxwell. I picked up the clicker here, and I'm going through the TV here, and let's see. You know what was funny? We asked your nephew if he's watching the news, and he said, "I don't fucking watch CNN. I don't fucking watch CNN.
We don't watch fucking CNN in this house," he said.
Don't you just love that kid?
12-year-old.
Hey, he's 12 years old, and he realizes that the narrator for CNN is fucking Darth Vader. So he knows not to trust him, This is CNN.
Yeah.
Against trusted news. Again, with the sounds, you're going to, all the trolls are going to say the Skype sounds were annoying. Okay. Her Brooklyn accent was annoying.
Everything's annoying.
It was, since when is an accent this and this and that? Oh, she's not intelligent because she has an accent. Really? Yes, she is. Really? It's called an accent, you butt fuckers.
Let me see. Are they online?
So, Cuba is getting punched out as we speak. Okay, going here to my Montalvo News Central.
He changed his picture from Donald Trump to some weird...
Now he has a troll profile, doesn't he? He's trolling as Donald Trump.
Yeah.
This is the nephew that we fear is going to get swept away into a hurricane. Hopefully not.
But they don't think so.
You know what? We've tried to warn your brother. Now he might end up like fucking Hank Hill, King of the Hill, holding on to a freaking light pole, and then the freaking hurricane's ripping out all the clothes off his back.
And then that Geostorm movie is no fun.
Oh, yeah, that's about to be released like next month.
Wow. I mean, I saw that, and I'm still having a heart attack.
We're still having heart attacks. It's not over yet. Okay, says here 9 counties in Florida under a tornado watch as Irma draws near. Tornado on the ground in Oakland Park. National Weather Service says Hurricane Irma regains Category 5 strength. So it died down to a 3, but as it's approaching those warm Key West waters, it's like adding fuel to the flame, and it's recharging it. It's reinvigorating the storm, or the geostorm. And again, I don't understand why people are acting like, the Wolf of Wall Street over there in Florida, really, and they didn't want to leave.
Well, and you have all your things there.
So you're never going to fucking get me out of here.
Hey, if you have all of your things there, you don't really want to leave it open for fucking looters. You know what I'm saying? And then if everybody bitch asses, and if they're steering it, and enough people stay back, they might not want to ruin everybody. If everybody's gone, they'll just go, everybody left. We got them.
Well, I'm getting reports here. I'm getting reports from a fan that listens to the show, our good friend Linda. She's saying that it's turning left, and then it's going towards Tampa. Is that a good thing for our family or?
Yeah, but it's not a good. Whatever.
Remember, I asked God for a protective firmament over your family.
But we were looking to live in Florida, and I looked in a lot.
Or I asked for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to go and swim, under the tsunami and save all your family members. Cause,
none of my family's right. My family who was by the beach, they left that area, so they went to another area. But they were in Florida. They didn't leave.
You see, Miami Beach is a total ghost town.
It's not a ghost town. She's there, and so I have friends in Miami Beach right now. They're like, fuck it.
Can I just fearmonger, for fuck's sake? Let me tell you something. There's no way, folks, you can find a fucking Cubano sandwich right now in Miami Beach. It's a ghost town. All right, they all got the fuck out of there.
Yeah. The only place that's very, very scary would be Key West, and up by where Donald is. And did he say his house got hit or something?
That's right.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm getting reports that Mar-a-Lago is in the crosshairs. But report here: Cuba blasted as Hurricane Irma tears through Caribbean. Now I'm going to fact check that Trump Mar-a-Lago.
It said it could impact.
It could impact.
Yeah, I don't think it will. And of course, he's got
Hurricane Irma. New York Post slams into Trump's $17 million vacation home, and all the stupid libtards right now are cheering and thumbs upping and little hearts, and little rainbows.
It's gross.
They're all loving it.
It's terrible. No matter what this man has,
So it's not going to be a direct hit in Miami. I'm getting not a direct hit in Miami. They're not out of it yet, but
they're gonna get rained on. They're gonna get.
This is the size of Ohio here.
They're gonna have
this hurricane.
You're gonna see it like as bad as Andrew. You're gonna see a lot of in the smaller homes, probably in Hollywood and by Kendall. It looks very bad, and below Kendall, all the places closer.
Isn't it insane how, according to this Fibonacci mathematics, the hurricane is literally shaped the same as like the universe, or the shell, or the.
Bruce, it's what they're doing. They're spiraling.
What the hell?
That's how they're getting the torque.
You know what I see right now? I see 3 freaking 6s in the Atlantic Basin. They're spinning. It looks like freaking 666 out there. Irma, Jose and Katya, the Russian hooker.
Yeah. Well, it's
hooker storm.
Did you just imagine a yo-yo and they're just spinning, winding?
Well, I'm telling you, Trump's pissed right now. The deep state owns the weather weapon influencer with the microwaves. Okay, they got one out in the Bermuda Triangle, the SBX-1. They're targeting Trump's fucking house. These sons of bitches. Oh, they want to blame it on Trump. Oh, the hurricane, it only exists because of Trump's hate. You believe these idiots?
No, I think that those people should only have...
They should not breathe.
They should only have themselves in harm's way, and then they wouldn't be speaking such shit upon somebody else.
Listen to this. Hurricane Irma, Category 5 hurricane, is barreling closer towards Florida's southern coast. But before it makes landfall this weekend, the storm has been bubbling the Caribbean with gale-force winds, sheets of rain, and widespread destruction. One of the casualties has been President Donald Trump's vacation home, Le Chateau de Plumeurs, the island of Saint Martin. So it's not Mar-a-Lago that got hit, but it's Hurricane Irma slamming into one of his vacation homes. So Trump lost the vacation home, a $17 million vacation home. So what was Mar-a-Lago next? Oh my God. It's the end of the freaking world. It's the end of the world. I don't want to sound like Homer Simpson with the cowbell running around. Hear ye, hear me. It's the end of the world. Don't you see? But it's here. They're directed energy weaponing this freaking hurricane, steering it like it's a fucking Honda Accord into the United States. And we got nephews out there that we hope that aren't holding on for dear life like Hank Hill during the hurricane.
Yeah.
I mean,
or that,
what the fuck?
Or that guy in the movie from the trailer for Geostorm, looks like my brother with his kids, it's very scary. So.
Oh no, it's
I can't believe he lost something in St. Martin's. That's fucked up. This is all fucked up.
The Storm Watch. Again, you're listening to the Bruce Montalvo Show. We had Jordan Maxwell on the first half, and now my lovely wife Jaja joins me, and we're doing Storm Watch, Hurricane Irma, and we're gonna wrap it up because that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna go and watch what the fuck happens and try to be in contact with our nephew, who is him and his entire family are like worse than the Wolf from Wall Street. They're like, no, I'm not fucking leaving. You're gonna have to bring in the National fucking Guard to take me out of here. I'm not going anywhere. You kiss my ass. I'm not going anywhere. So anyway, you've been listening to the new and improved Super Montalvo Show. Okay, before I go, look at these headlines here. Taco Bell employees shoot and kill an armed robber. So now you can't even go out and get a couple of Taco Bell Supremes without them gunning you down. Taco Bell employee gunning you down. So now they're packing heat in Taco Bell. I think it's a bunch of reptilians. If you look at that Bell logo, it's got like the reptilian eye on the Taco Bell. So look at that real quick. And that's what's going on. There was a woman, so in the New York Post, she's walking down the street and she just gave birth in the middle of the street, just right there, placenta, everything just spewed out, a bunch of freaking menstrual period, bunch of stinky vag blood, all that. Okay, yeah, real nice. If you're eating right now, you probably just barfed and quarfed all over the place. But yeah, people just giving birth right on the middle of the street. Baby falls, cracks its head on the ground. She just picked it up. A woman calmly walks home after giving birth in the street. This is the type of world we're living in. But like I said, I'm going to go watch the storm. And don't you know that for years you watched television, but now the television watches you? So we're going to go watch some fake news. And we're going to get the real news from our family. Hopefully they don't knock out one of these cell phone towers and they lose a connection, because then we won't even be able to Skype or any internet. But they got generators, they got food. We gotta make sure that they're in communication with us. So again, if you got loved ones, folks, try to reach them on Skype, talk to them, and try to keep them calm, and just don't believe all the hype in the news, but just stay tuned. I mean, we can't turn it off. It's like, I went to go grab a beer today instead of watching the fight or whatever, the baseball game or the Laker game. I'm watching the hurricane. I'm not watching the Miami Hurricanes. I'm watching the hurricane that's going to hit Miami. Yeah. And the Dolphins are all scurrying. They're getting the fuck out of there. They're going to be the Alabama Dolphins. They're moving to Alabama. Or Tennessee Dolphins. You have two teams, Tennessee Dolphins, Tennessee Titans. And that's what it is. It's the Titans that are touching down onto the planet. Okay, seriously, they're manifesting in the form of these man-made storms. They use HARP to freaking communicate with demons and the gods that now they just call them demons, and that's who's touching down. Okay, and what did Jordan Maxwell say in the first half? He said that we are now entering the age of Aquarius. Mm-hmm. Now he wants to say he saw a curvature of the Earth somewhere in Florida. Okay, that didn't slip my mind.
He said that?
No.
He was using that as a metaphor. Listen, he said...
Oh, well, I'm trying to get somewhere here. But the age of Pisces is going to the firmament's going to bust out, and that's going to be the jug that is overflowing the Earth, man. Look at Bangladesh. Look at Houston. Okay, look at soon to be Florida, man. We're like underwater. We're like under attack like it's fucking Godzilla. It's a man-made Godzilla. Wasn't Godzilla man-made? This is like an invisible Godzilla, man. And it's not invisible. It's very visible. They're using fucking microwaves to maneuver this thing.
But you know what's scary was even if it doesn't hit where my family is,
it's on its way.
Yeah, but okay, they're gonna get rain, and trees can come down, lines can come down. People
South Florida, drinking tap water is still safe. They say. Oh yeah. What about all the fluoride that's there? Huh?
Okay. What about?
Or what about those nuclear plants? The Turkey Hill, right?
Get hit, but that's
well, it hasn't got hit yet. We wait and see.
Okay, but anybody who moves in below Biscayne Bay is you're gonna get some fallout from that nuclear crap. But I don't know nuclear, but it's uranium something, right?
It's like Maxwell said, big bombs.
Well, they're like
big
little,
stinky fart bombs.
They're like little bombs trickling into your water, and you have tritium entering your bloodstream that gives you prostate cancer. And
on a lighter note, some comic relief. A long time ago in 9th grade, I stink bombed the cafeteria at my high school. Yeah. That's what they should have done at your family's house that still stayed in Florida. They should have thrown a stink on him there to get him out.
If you had all your stuff there, our jewelry there, you gonna want to run?
I'll tell you what I do. I got a truck, right? I'm a simple man like Hank Hill. I got my truck and I got my old Xbox from like the year 2000. I'll play none of the newfangled games. I got my own. I don't go and I try to give Bill Gates money that I don't have. I'm a simple man. Yeah, so what I would do is put it on the back of my truck. And I get the fuck out of Dodge. Do you hear me? And I get the fuck out of Babylon. I sound like Rolling Ready. And guess what, folks? I'm in a communication right now. That's right. I'm talking to a stuntman. Okay? He's a stuntman / scientist. He's going to be on the show soon.
Okay.
Anyway, what's up?
Great.
No, come on. What's up?
Nothing.
What do you mean nothing? We're talking about the hurricane.
Right.
Yeah. We're freaking scared shitless out of our minds.
Yeah, no business talking about Rolling Ready. I was talking about Fort Lauderdale and how people are not on the streets there now, and they were running they were what Jordan said was so imperative because he was saying that that the worst of everything, people have to get in the car and then they have to pee and then they're losing gas.
They could get robbed.
They
get targeted.
Anything you get. Okay, you're raining on the road. You get stuck on the road. You don't have. They take advantage at hotels. There's no place to rent a room if you don't have friends or family. You don't even know where to go. I mean, there's not. What do you do? So I mean, you want to say take the family and run, but if you know your house is strong and you know that you're in a 20-foot, I mean, it wasn't 30 foot, but 20 foot above sea level. You don't run if you're not by the water. I mean, that's what happens with people. They have a little bit more faith.
Well, it seems like the Floridians got a warning in advance because I'm pretty sure that some Houstonians, some Texans right now, wishing they would have gotten a warning. Okay, but isn't it?
You're supposed to know where you live too. Like when I lived in Brooklyn, there was a flood in a lot of areas in Brooklyn. A lot. Okay, I had friends that had all their shit flooded out and they had to throw everything out. So that was horrible. And artists in by Gowanus and just but I lived on a hill that was so fucking high that. We walked down. You had to walk all the way. It was at the bottom was Barclays. We were above the top of the Barclays.
Well, according to Geostorm, that doesn't matter because there's no Brooklyn, no nothing. You would have to have the shredder go in there with like a gravity machine and pull out Manhattan Island like he did in the Manhattan Project in the Ninja Turtles video game, and that's the only way it would escape the wrath of. Again, a storm that's barreling into New York, and again, September 11th is right around the corner. This whole thing is like 9/11.
You say 9/11, and it's funny. I was just thinking. I was going to tell you that there was a group of they were like first responder rebels, right? There was a town in Queens that was suing. And they were sick with mesothelioma. Some of them died. It was like a pack of them. I think
that's right.
They were, some of them were police, some were firemen, and they already had the impact of 9/11. And then there was that storm a couple of years ago, that flood.
Sandy?
And then it's amazing because their area, that one fucking area, seemed to have gone on fire. And they died, and like so many of them died, devastated their properties, that whole town. That whole town where all those guys were at was completely demolished. So explain that. They were in court, like, making a big deal, suing these motherfuckers. You know, you just gotta, I don't know.
Explain that. How do I explain it?
What I'm trying to say is that if they want to get you, they're gonna fucking get you.
I could explain it right here in a couple of words, okay? You have the insane deep state that can bypass Congress and Americans and under national security gets the president to write executive orders so they can get all this Harvey relief money and the Irma relief money. Again, remember, they kicked the can down the road and with the debt ceiling, they suspended it, right? So now, they're pretty much with these hurricanes, these horrorcanes, they found a way to fund their criminally bankrupt government. So at the end of the day, what difference did it make to get Donald Trump elected president when Hillary Clinton is still running free and Barack Obama is basically the deep state president, and they got a fucking weather weapon that they're managing from the Legion of Doom. Okay? I hate to sound so damn grim, but it is what it is. Okay? And I'm just like Super Montalvo with my Super Montalvo show in this fucked up world going through all these rabbit holes and conspiracy tunnels, right? Did you see that picture of me as Super Mario? Yeah. I'm getting fans saying that that's a good look for me and that I should lobby Nintendo to cast me as the new Mario because I got a way better nose than him. But they'll never do it. Nintendo will never do it because I exposed that Satoru Iwata, or the old Nintendo guy, was killed because he didn't want Nintendo games like going totally gay and like the characters going down on each other and stuff. Like Mario having sex with like, Zelda and stuff. What's his name? The little elf from Zelda. Anyway, we're coming to the end of the show. Hey, did you know? You were there, Jaja. You saw that American Express commercial? Like, the world is flat. Or, the world is not flat.
They said the world.
And I'm saying the world is flat.
Well, what's funny is that I don't know how I ended up on the H. Stern website for some reason. And it's amazing because, they're Brazilian, they make jewelry, they have gorgeous stuff, and I was just looking something up from there, and I noticed they have this conceptual line based on Copernicus. They called it Copernicus. I was like, wow. And I actually liked the line. It was some of the designs were really, really
cool. Yeah, but they're pushing that globe Earth thing.
So I wrote them. I said, contact us. I was like, hi, I love your line, your new line design, the Copernicus line, but the Earth is not flat. The Earth is not round.
Yeah, the Earth is not round.
Right.
Yeah, right.
And they wrote me back.
Yeah, but what do we know? We're just nut and nutty.
We're happy to help you.
And you've been listening to the Bruce Montalvo Show. And now it's time for us to go watch that damn storm. There it is. Look, Miami. No more Miami Heat there. It's Miami Hurricane.
We did put up jewelry, though. We put up some new jewelry up in conceptual.
That's right. Before we go, remember what helps not just fund the show, but fund our very existence is our work. And it's made in America, one-of-a-kind, beautiful jewelry. And tell them where they could find some of the most elegant jewelry ever.
Just go to Google, type in conceptual subculture, one word. I'm sure if you did too, it'll come up as well. We have an Etsy store. And right now there's a 60% off sale. And I have brand new stuff. I mean, we just made like right off the sushi block, We just made all these bracelets.
That's right. Just chop. Like the guy at Benihana.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You've been there? Anyway.
Yeah, we made all these really wild bracelets and pendants and orgone pendants and embossed copper, wire wrapped, all these orgonite gemstones that I made and out of resin with real turquoise and herkimer. And then I also wire wrapped all these very big chunks of quartz crystal to an embossed copper, so it's got kind of like energetic and spiritual and really cool looking and futuristic and actually dystopian. So it, like the world we live in today, it's kind of like And these few things that we made are done without the torch, and it's to see how far. And these are all my designs. I've never copied them, so
forged, handmade.
Yeah, and Bruce and I work our asses off on them. And
repoussé.
This line that we just did was to see how far we advanced. We could create something without having to torch it. It's just through forging, and that's what we've been doing. Just,
but that doesn't mean we don't have some beautiful handmade, soldered, sterling silver bracelets and cuffs. We have the most elegant design. I mean, we have all lines, whether you're into copper, forged, handmade, or soldered jewelry, bezeled jewelry. I mean, so many beautiful.
We'll have more of that
designs that are coming. You can find them at Antique Obsessions. That's at Antique Obsessions on Facebook, at Conceptual Subculture on Facebook, and now on Twitter at Antique Obsessed. So you go ahead and follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook. And it's got links to our stores on eBay and Etsy. You could partake in so many wonderful deals, and there's so much elegant jewelry that we're making. It's made in America. It supports the show. And you could also help on one or two stores. If one of your purchases could go to help the victims in Texas of this Harvey catastrophe we're giving.
Yeah, now I have it
donations.
On Outrageous Jewelry. I have Red Cross, and then I also have some Red Cross.
So you not only help us, you help keep honest, real news and riveting interviews like you just heard with Jordan Maxwell. And real news, not fake news, here on this show. And we got to go. We got to make sure that, the nephew is twirling into oblivion from his home as the sons of God are touching down. Earthquakes in Mexico, 8.2s. 8.2 earthquakes, tornadoes, tsunamis, UFO sightings. What the fuck is happening? Are we going to be here tomorrow? Well, if we wake up, at least we know we're not dead. You've been listening to the Bruce Montalvo Show. Catch you next time.
You're listening to MBN Montalvo Broadcasting Network.
As we watch the suburban garden gnome carefully without disturbing it, we notice that it moves not at all. It's inanimate and utterly without brain function. But despite that, when a garden gnome hears about how Geico not only saves people money, but also gives them access to licensed agents 24/7 online and over the phone, it's clear to them you should switch. Because yes, switching to Geico is a no-brainer. But on second thoughts, maybe don't watch garden gnomes too carefully. People might talk.
Banner University Medicine is dedicated to bringing the best medical care to the Tucson community. Our newest hospital is designed with your health in mind. With 228 private patient rooms, 22 operating rooms, and more than $50 million in patient care technology, your care and comfort are our top priority. Banner University Medicine, making Tucson's future brighter and your visits easier. Now open at 1625 North Campbell Avenue. Online at bannerhealth.com/University Tucson.